Earth's many stories highlight how the presence of loving animals can positively impact people's lives. This particular story showcases the incredible miracles that therapy dogs can perform, especially when it comes to a lifeless boy who found hope through their companionship. The events took place in 2015 in Huntsville, Utah, USA, and revolve around the Howard family. The Howards were a typical American family, comprised of Ben, his wife, and their 3 children. They lived a happy life, with occasional family disagreements that are commonplace in any household. Little did they know that tragedy was about to strike, shattering their world. On what appeared to be a regular day, the 3 children went to school, eager to learn and play with their friends. Meanwhile, their parents went about their usual work routine. The time eventually came for school to end, and Mrs. Howard went to pick up her children. Just as she had done countless times before, the family of 4 was on their way home, the children excitedly sharing their school day experiences with their mother and making plans for their time together. However, fate took a cruel turn. While Mrs. Howard was driving along her usual route, an oncoming car suddenly approached at an excessive speed, appearing to be out of control. Despite her frantic efforts to avoid a collision, it was too late. The 2 vehicles collided head-on in a tragic accident. The mother and 2 of her children lost their lives in that devastating moment. Remarkably, 6-year-old Caleb survived the crash, although he was far from unscathed. He had sustained numerous severe injuries, including broken bones among them, a broken femur, knee, and arm, as well as internal injuries. The most concerning injury, however, was to his head. The impact of the head-on collision caused traumatic brain injury, TBA, a condition in which the brain's tissues are violently jolted within the skull. Millions of Caleb's brain cells were lost in the process. Ben Howard, Caleb's father, explained, "The impact of a head-on collision was such a sudden stop that the tissues in the brain slammed against the forward area of the skull and back, and all through his brain, millions and millions of his cells were killed." This traumatic brain injury posed a severe threat to Caleb's life, potentially leading to brain damage, paralysis, or even death. Despite these immense challenges, Ben was unwavering in his determination to support his son. The initial weeks were critical, as Caleb's fate hung in the balance. Thankfully, he managed to recover from most of his physical injuries, eventually being discharged from the critical care unit. However, Caleb still faced a long and uncertain road to regaining mental function. Fortunately, due to his young age, there was hope that his brain could regain lost cells over time as he continued to grow. Several weeks passed, but Caleb's mental capacity showed limited improvement. He remained unable to move on his own, not due to paralysis but because the accident had robbed him of the knowledge and ability to do so. The medical team explored various methods to stimulate Caleb's mind, believing that focused activities could help his brain heal and reacquire the lost skills. This heartwarming story illustrates the transformative impact of therapy dogs, particularly one extraordinary canine named Colonel, on the life of a boy who had faced a traumatic brain injury. This touching narrative unfolded in 2015 in Huntsville, Utah, USA, and centered around the Howard family. The Howards were a typical American family, composed of Ben, his wife, and their 3 children. They led a contented life with the usual family disagreements that are part of any household. Little did they know that tragedy was about to strike, altering the course of their lives. One fateful day, after the children had gone to school and their parents had headed to work, Mrs. Howard went to pick up her 3 children, as she had done countless times before. The family of 5 was on their way home, with the children excitedly recounting their school day experiences and making plans for their time together. However, their journey took a disastrous turn. While driving along her regular route, an oncoming car suddenly approached at a reckless speed, appearing to be out of control. Despite her desperate attempts to avoid a collision, it was too late. The 2 vehicles collided head-on in a devastating accident. Tragically, the mother and 2 of her children lost their lives in that heart-wrenching moment. Miraculously, 6-year-old Caleb survived the crash, although he was not without injury. He had suffered numerous severe injuries, including broken bones like his femur, knee, and arm, as well as internal injuries. However, the gravest concern was his traumatic brain injury. The impact of the collision had violently jolted the tissues within Caleb's brain against his skull, resulting in the loss of countless brain cells. TBIs carried the risk of brain damage, paralysis, or even death. Despite these formidable challenges, Ben Howard, Caleb's father, remained resolute in supporting his son. The initial weeks were critical, as Caleb's life hung in the balance. Fortunately, he managed to recover from most of his physical injuries and was eventually discharged from the critical care unit. Nevertheless, Caleb still faced a long and uncertain journey to regain mental function. In an attempt to stimulate Caleb's mind, the medical team initially employed various techniques, including conversation and the presentation of simple items, to pique his interest. However, these efforts yielded limited results. Caleb struggled to engage his brain in complex tasks, leaving the doctors with few options. In their search for alternative treatments, they decided to introduce a therapy dog, Colonel, even though they held reservations about its effectiveness. Colonel, a compassionate golden retriever, was brought into Caleb's life by Susan, a kind-hearted volunteer at the hospital. To begin with, Colonel simply sat by Caleb's bedside, offering warmth and comfort. Although there were some signs of improvement in Caleb's brain activity, nothing seemed particularly significant. However, this changed as Colonel continued his visits. Remarkably, Caleb's response to the dog's presence was overwhelmingly positive. He lit up with joy when Colonel came to visit. As evidenced by his increased heart rate and improved respiratory function, a miraculous transformation was unfolding before the doctors and Ben's eyes. All thanks to the only change in Caleb's routine, Colonel's soothing and comforting presence. Colonel's unwavering companionship motivated Caleb to become more alert and interactive. Over time, Caleb regained his motor skills and began speaking again. His progress was nothing short of miraculous, thanks to Colonel's persistence and nurturing nature. Ben Howard was amazed by the incredible journey of healing that Caleb had embarked upon. He had feared losing his son, but thanks to Colonel's dedication, it seems that Caleb was on the path to recovery. Colonel provided emotional support and comfort to Caleb during his low moments and eagerly played with the child when he was in better spirits. Gradually, Caleb regained all of his motor functions and a substantial portion of his cognitive abilities. Today, he lives with his father and grandmother who cherish him dearly. Colonel holds a special place in Caleb's heart for the remarkable difference he made in his life. This heartwarming story underscores the idea that life can present unexpected challenges, yet, with determination and the support of caring individuals or dogs like Colonel, anything is possible. Share your thoughts on this touching tale in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories.